This is something that, I'm going to say, this is something that I haven't necessarily found out there. When I search, I haven't found somebody that's really breaking it down. You can find a million of finance things. I look for them all the time. But a lot of them, even for me, they go over my head because A, I'm not interested, right? And B, they're not going to apply to my life because I'm never going to do it, right? These are the basics, and these basics work. Trust me. I've been there. I've done them. They worked for me. I own 2 companies. They're thriving. I've managed more than $3 billion. I've made a lot of people a lot of money in my career. I've made myself a decent living.
He's being humble. He's a baller. Welcome, everybody, to Born Broke with Mike Hofferth. And today, we're going to talk about budgeting. Very important, Mike.
Well, this is where it all begins, George.
Foundation.
It doesn't get any more foundation than this. Budgeting is the cornerstone of everything you're going to do and what we're going to talk about here on Born Broke. I mean, this is why we're here. Some people might be rolling their eyes or saying, I can't get into this. But we're trying to make finance fun, right? We're not your parents.
No.
If you're younger, we're not your parents. So you might want to listen, maybe, because we're just trying to give you what we took 40 years to do and get you ahead faster. And maybe you can be the provider for your parents if you take the steps and do the things. And your parents will retire early. And then who knows? But anyway, budgeting. Budgeting is so important. I can't even stress it enough, right? Basically what I mean by budgeting is you have to know what all your outgoing expenses are. Meaning all the money you spend every month.
Everything. That's very important to include everything.
Utilities, car payment, car insurance, maintenance, whatever it is, all the way down to your coffee purchases, if that's what you do on a religious basis. If you're doing that every day, you need to know you're doing that every day.
Drink coffee at home.
Yeah, you need to see what that's doing to your cash flow. Your cash flow is ultimately you taking all your expenses and then looking at all your income for the period, whether that be 1 month, 2 months, 12 months, right? If you're making, if you have a 52-week year job or you have a 12-month job, right? You can divide that by 12 and you can figure out what your monthly income is, right? And then you can compare that to your budget.
That's simple format.
Yeah.
But
if you only work 3 months
correct.
A year, you have to take that total and divide it by 12 again because you're only working 3 months, 9 months off. Sounds great, but you're not making money. You have to divide by 12, and that'll tell you how much you can spend each month.
Or like a 1099er that's seasonal.
Ooh, 1099. So when you have a job, you're a W-2 employee, right? They take your taxes out. Right there. What you get is after taxes. If you're a 1099 employee, like a consultant or something like that, which you'll probably be if you're a little bit older listening to this. If you're a little bit younger, you might be a 1099 later in life. I don't know. Maybe you already are. Who knows? But if you're 1099, those taxes aren't taken out of your check. Therefore, you're getting the whole thing. But at the end of the year, you're probably going to have to pay some of that to the government, right? So you want to make sure that you save and you prepare for that so you don't get hit with a bill that you can't afford, okay? Back to the basis of budgeting. Maybe you're not a computer person. Maybe you are. Maybe you're not an app person. Maybe you are. Regardless, you can make this in the simplest form. I do mine in Excel. Simple Excel. You can get a piece of paper out and a pen, and you can do it that way. I always sketch it out before I build it anyway, right? So let's use the example. Get a paper out, a pen, and start the list, right? List every expense. Rent, how much it is. Is it weekly, bi-weekly, every 2 weeks, or is it monthly, right? List what it is. Tally it up. Total it up for the year. Next, utilities, gas, water, phone, cell phone. It's a big one. Everyone has cell phone these days. Cell phone. Any kind of apps that you pay for, right? Any kind of streaming services you pay for.
Do you need those?
Yeah. This is going to show you what you need or what you don't. You probably will be shocked. Most of you might be shocked at how much you spend a month. I was. Did I break it all down?
Yeah, there's a lot of waste. Once you list everything out like what Mike's talking about, you can... I'm like a color guy. I'll list everything in green that I absolutely need, and then I'll highlight everything in red that I know I just do not need. tally it up and you're like, I had no idea that there was that much waste in my budget that I can just get rid of.
And that's the purpose of the budgeting, right? It's to list it all out, tally it all up, get a total, compare it to your income, see if there's any left over, extra income. Because if there's nothing left over and you're spending more than you earn, you're going into debt. Debt is another thing we're going to cover multiple times. Hopefully that's not your case. Hopefully. But some of you might have that problem.
Sure.
However, tally it up, total it up, compare it to your income, see what you have left. If you have money left over, that's cash flow, right? You're cash flowing. Now that cash flow, you can do a multitude of things, right? I would suggest in the beginning stages putting it in an interest-bearing account because it's probably not a ton. For those of you that might be making a significant amount of money, you might want to seek out something other than interest-bearing savings account, maybe a money market. Money markets are at this current time paying pretty good, just based on where we are. But again, I can't stress enough. You need to list it all out. You need to know what the total is. Like George said then, you can go dissect it. You can go into it. And you can say, hey, do I need this streaming service? Do I need 8 streaming services? No, I can get by with 2. Oh, great. Perfect. Cancel the other one, save the money. Right? See where you can trim that fat. See where you can cut costs. Cutting those costs will improve your cash flow. As your cash flow goes up, you get more financial freedom, right? Because your savings account might start to grow. Then you can take that money. You can do other things with it. And when you do other things with it, then you start to have the freedom, right? You can take that person out to a fancy dinner if you choose. You can buy that nicer car. You can save to get out of your parents' house. Whatever is important to you. But the basis is knowing your budget. If you're not familiar with having a budget, you need to go back to it and refresh your mind every week. Do you have a budget?
Of course.
You do?
You know who helped me build it?
I did.
You did.
Years ago.
It was years ago, but guess what? I had been using some, there's some apps out there that can help you do budgeting, but I think with just using Excel or Google Sheets or whatever you're using, you're seeing everything right there, and you can manually alter it and build it however you want. But I don't think I came to you in desperation, but I came to you of like, let me get a second pair of eyes on this.
Right.
And then you started checking me. Why? Because he's my best friend and he's a financial wizard. And the guy, by the way, has managed over $3 billion in his career. And who else is going to be more credible than you? Because he cares. And guess what? The magic thing about this whole conversation is having someone that can help you. They're not emotional. He doesn't care about my streaming services. He doesn't care about all the things that he could just cut out because he's like, you don't need them.
Well, I'm honest. I'll be honest.
You're honest, and you don't, and I don't need those things. There was so much waste in there that
challenging.
I saw.
Challenging you.
Correct.
To challenge yourself.
Correct. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, we talk about it all the time. With finances or life or with anything, I'm an extremely competitive person, and you're either winning or you're losing. If you're bringing in $1,000 or $5,000 a month or whatever it is, and you're spending $5,000 a month, you're not winning or losing. You're just maintaining like your existence. But if you're spending, bringing in $5,000 and you're spending $5,600, $7,000, $8,000, we know what's happening there, right? Every month, you're not cash flowing and you're going further into debt. And why are you losing the game? Oh, because I bought a car that I can't afford or whatever it may be. So win the game, right? Like you're either giving money to all the credit card companies and paying interest and doing all those things, or you're either socking money away in an interest-bearing account and having fun with life. And the number one thing that I always preach, me and you, is just lower stress.
Oh yeah.
Like stress is not having debt is probably the most amazing feeling that you didn't manufacture. There might be debt where you might have a medical issue, or you might have, God forbid, you have some issue in your life where you need to help somebody or a family member and you need to go into some debt. Fine. But don't put it in there. Don't create debt yourself by going out and getting things that you can't afford.
Exactly. You don't want to buy beyond your means. Absolutely not. The good thing is that when you build a budget, you can recognize those things that you might have done,
right,
and you can fix the problem. Right. Say you bought a car and you noticed that you could get a cheaper car. You can fix that problem.
Yeah.
Is it a little punch in the belly? Of course it is. Of course. It hurts a little bit. It hurts your ego. Trust me. I know that. I've had to do that. But big picture, long-term goal is to get your finances straight so you have options later and you have the ability to get even a fancier car than what you might have to give up. So it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
Ooh.
You like that one, huh?
Yeah. You're rhyming today.
Yeah. Short-term gain for a little bit of long-term pain. I said it backwards.
Wait, you did say it backwards. I think they get the point.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, budgeting, how critical is it? And it's tedious, it's boring. But again, turn it into a game, and you're winning or you're losing. Let's have you win, because we've gone through it ourselves. And there are times in life where I'm winning, and then there are times I'm just maintaining, and then maybe I have a rough month, or I get hit with a medical expense or anything, and now you're losing. So quickly course correct and get everything back to where you're winning.
George is always putting stuff into games. I do the same thing. I'm an old athlete. George is an Olympic athlete, one of the elite. So that's how his mind works, and it works for him.
Long time ago. I'm a dinosaur now.
But you played pro as well.
I don't know about that. Maybe
they
long time ago.
Yeah, you can Google George Romaine and you'll find out his career.
Sure.
But he pro and an Olympian. But ultimately, what I want you to do, right? Whether you are on cloud 9 and super positive in your life, or whether you are super depressed and feeling like you're never going to get out of it, you can create this budget. You can sit down and you can do it in either mindset, right? For those of you that might be less fortunate and you might be in a situation where you're not so positive right now, still take the time to do this, because guess what? This is going to help that mind. This is going to help you get out of that rut, because you're going to have control of your finances. You're going to have control of how you live your life. You're going to have control of how you live your life in 10 years. It will help you mentally. It will help you physically, and it will help your bank account. You have to start now. It's not too late. Start now. Start today. Because if you wait, your colleagues will be getting ahead of you.
Yeah, look, what Mike just said at the very end there, where your colleagues are getting ahead of you, believe me, there's nothing that burns more, okay? If you're a competitive person, like I think everybody should be, because life is a competition, right? It just is.
I mean, it is. Look around you.
100%. And there is no participation trophies in being financially financially free. But for me, I want to know, am I winning or am I losing the game?
Sure.
And at the end of the day, when we're talking about your colleagues, you get together with your old friends and they got on the success train and they started saving money and now they're ahead, and you guys all hang out 10 years later, and then all of a sudden you're still in the same position. Believe me, that will hurt more than anything. And you don't need to be there. So start now, wherever you are. If you're here or or you want to be here, just start and build some momentum and chip away.
Yeah. This is the thing that you can control life, right? Like, don't let life get the best of you. Don't let life get you down. Let this help you excel and move. I mean, for everybody's in a different stage, right? Like you might have a family, you might have kids, you might have the whole thing. You might not, but someday you probably will. I mean, that's the natural progression in life, right? So the earlier you start, the better off you're going to be, and the better off you're going to be able to help family members if that's what you choose to do. The possibilities are endless. Possibilities are endless. Like, we're not here trying to jam it down your throat, for no reason. We're here for those that want to listen and actually work on these little things to help them financially. This is something that, I'm going to say, this is something that I haven't necessarily found out there. When I search, I haven't found somebody that's really breaking it down. You can find a million of finance things. I look for them all the time. But a lot of them, even for me, they go over my head because A, I'm not interested, right? And B, they're not going to apply to my life because I'm never going to do it, right? these are the basics, and these basics work. Trust me. I've been there. I've done them. They worked for me. I own 2 companies. They're thriving. I've managed more than $3 billion. I've made a lot of people a lot of money in my career. I've made myself a decent living.
He's being humble. He's a baller.
I enjoy my life. I enjoy making my decisions, you know, and I want you to as well, you know?
Yeah.
George and I are here for real stories. George and I are here, you know, I want to see people in their comments, dude. I want to see them in the comments.
But why did we start this?
I know, but I want to see in their comments, dude. I want to see the comments, and I want to see down the road. I want to see people go, I implemented the basics, and now, you know, I have a portfolio that's over $1 million. That's what I want to see. I want to see people go, oh, I implemented the basics. Thank you so much. And now I've bought that Mercedes I've always wanted. Oh, I've implemented the basics and I was able to buy a house. Oh, I've implemented the basics and I was able to take care of my grandparents. Whatever it is, man, that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
And that's why you came to me with this idea. And I'm like, yeah, I love it, because it doesn't matter of what walk of life that you're in. Some people grew up with money. I have friends that grew up with a lot of money. Their parents even taught them this. And guess what? They didn't listen. They just didn't. And then there's like families that didn't have anything. And my parents didn't teach me financial literacy. They told me how to work hard, be respectful, you know, be a good person, all these things. And sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm okay. But they didn't teach me anything about, hey, you need to do this, 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 and this. And guess what? Even if they did, I probably wouldn't have listened anyway, because I was full of piss and vinegar.
That's just it, you know? Yeah. At the earlier stages of life, we all think we know it all. So we don't listen to our parents, right? Yeah. That's just a normal thing. There's a certain stage in life where you think you know everything.
Yeah.
Look, George and I aren't your parents. George and I are here to be your colleagues, your friends, your advisors. We don't know everything. Yeah. We're just 2 dudes that have been best friends for a long time, came up with a concept to help. Financial literacy is an important thing. You know, George, I think the most important thing is they need to start today. Start today.
Yep.
List out all your monthly expenses. Take a look at them. See how much income you're bringing in. You know, that will allow you to analyze where you are financially.
Yeah.
Because also a thing that I want to say on this is, you never know. We all get fired. We all lose a job. There's always a pitfall that we can't expect. You want to be prepared for that too, right? So you don't want to live on the edge, paycheck to paycheck, if you can avoid
security
it.
Blanket, right?
You want a little bit of buffer. So if you do fall on a hard time, or you do lose that job, or that company, it might not even be your fault. Like, the company could close their doors because they couldn't make it, right? And all of a sudden everybody, you know, is looking for a new job. You want to have the ability to not stress.
Right.
You want to have that comfort, or that security blanket. Yeah. Have a couple months.
Security blanket, or is it? I think I said security blanket. I don't know if that's the right term. More of like a what do they call it?
Peace of mind.
Yeah, it's peace of mind, but there's like a phrase for it of having.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to Google it because I don't know.
Like your emergency fund, or your save for a rainy day.
Save for a rainy day. That's like what my grandparents said.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say before? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think, you know, that's something that's important though. Knowing that, you know, if you're an employee, which many of you are, the majority of Americans are, right? You never know when that job could come to an end, right? And it might not be your fault, right? So don't get down on it. However, be prepared for it. Be prepared for it, right? You know, the budgeting is going to allow you to prepare for stuff like that, because you're going to know financially where you stand. You're going to know if you have excess money to weather, you know, a downfall in your career, right? And
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's happened to both of us, and you just keep moving on. I mean,
just roll with the punches.
Yeah, and I think too, what you guys need to understand too about Mike, if you can check out the link in the bio of this video and just understand who this guy is. And it's not just because he's a nice person and he's one of my best friends, or today he's my best friend. I'm gonna put him on a podium, but tomorrow he might drop off the list if he tells me that I need to cut something out of my budget that I really want. But you need to understand who he is and what he's done. Again, I went the athletic route and he went straight into business. So he's been doing this for 23 years. And the shows that he's managed are literally, if you're America's Got Talent fan, He's one of the guys, right? One of the producers. American Idol, same deal. X Factor, all these massive shows. Like, if you're fans of those shows, lob in a question and ask him, right? You know, he might not be able to answer it, but because it could be something he's not allowed to talk about, or he could talk about, you know, he might be able to answer the question. It could be anything related to those shows and what he's done and the stress of managing all that money and taking all those tools that you've developed throughout all those years and translated into personal finance, financial literacy for you and for me. Because as an athlete, I became a better athlete when I started teaching, right? Because you start understanding the technique, the mechanics, watching film, and Mike is now, for the first time, right? Yeah, he taught me about finance as well, and a few other friends, and had some really good stories that he's able to tell about helping folks. But now he's doing it on this grand stage, and he's here to help you.
Totally.
And you're getting better, right?
No, of course. This makes me better. It makes you better. It makes us all better. It makes you guys at home better, I hope. And at the end of the day, like, we're not going to stop here. Hopefully we're going to be touring to your town. We're going to be doing one-on-one consultations if you want to do them. We're going to be doing all these things to help you even be more advanced than this. As this channel grows, as this content grows, it's just going to get more and more advanced, right? We're going to feed off of you. We're going to feed off of your questions. We're going to feed off of what we've learned. We're going to feed off the things that aren't working for you, right? And we're going to help you where we can, hopefully overcome them and manage them and, you know, kind of swerve around them. We're going to help you with all that. It starts with budgeting. I guarantee you that. It starts with budgeting. There's no shortcut. If you don't budget, you don't know what you're spending, forget it. Tune out, right? You have to know what you're spending. Compare it to what you make, and you're going to be successful.
I love it. And again, to your point, we want to build a tribe. We want to build a community. We want to build this, this group of folks that want to watch this show, and we want to interact with you and create this movement of financial literacy. It's already started, right? There's certain states, that are already implementing this to. Well,
they're just jumping on board.
Yeah.
I had this before COVID. But I just wasn't in a place to launch it. You and I talked about it.
We talked about this for years, yeah.
But there's a movement happening. There's a groundswell, if you will. There's definitely a groundswell. Again, we're digressing, but it's about the budget. Yeah. It's the importance about the budget. People are realizing financial literacy isn't taught. People are realizing that, we need it.
And, we do need it.
And we're not your parents. Again, I'm going to say that many times. We're not your parents.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, we're not your parents. Like, we're just trying to be helpful. So
sure,
hopefully you listen.
Yeah, I think they're going to, and I think that's why they're here. I'm listening, and I'm sure you're listening to yourself. And we'll go back and we'll watch this video and going, wow, we need to implement that in our own life, right? It's like there's certain things that I've already heard you say, going, yeah, let me act like I do that, but I don't. I need to go back on my budget and go, wait a minute, how many streaming services do I really need, right? It's all the same content on all these different platforms. Right. But at the end of the day, society wants you to buy the next iPhone. Society wants you to buy the 2023 Chevy truck. They want you to buy the 2000. Everything is about.
Well, we're bombarded with it.
Exactly, and it's
everywhere you look. Everywhere you look, on social media, on the internet, like on TV, wherever you're looking, you're bombarded with ads, with marketing, with, but you have control and you have the ability to choose wants and needs, right?
Yeah.
We suggest starting with needs.
Yeah.
And then if you implement the right way, you'll be able to get whatever wants you want.
I like that.
That's ultimately what it is.
Get the wants when you can afford it.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I have nothing more.
No, we're good. Sorry, we ranted, but it's what it is.
Don't apologize. They're the ones getting the free education.
I get it. Well, I think that's the time to end it right now. But Born Broke with Mike Hofferth, and this one was on budgeting. And we really appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel, comments below, and that's a wrap.
Budget.